Patrick 0-2.
Yeah, it's a nice pitch there from Fitzpatrick. Putz just couldn't catch up to it.
Lefty out of Rutgers, toes the rubber once more. Comes in with the 0-2. Breaking ball swung on and missed, and he sets Carter Putz down on 3 pitches. Picks up his 7th strikeout already, 1 away in the top of the 4th.
I mean, we are just seeing 2 different styles of pitching in this game so far. 7 strikeouts through 3 1/3 so far for Brian Fitzpatrick, and then just 1 strikeout from Trey Dombrowski through 3 complete innings pitched. Both of them being extremely efficient, though, with what they've been doing.
Chris Newell leads things off, and he hammers one down the right field line, but he was way out in front of it. It's foul.
Yeah, I know we already talked about it, but that's the kind of power Chris Newell's got. No matter where you put him in the lineup, all season long, traditionally been batting either 1, 2, or 3, but here today, finding himself in the 6 hole.
He's had some struggles since returning from that injury he suffered at YD. The pitch misses low 1-1 count. Just 3 hits over his last 22 at-bats. So looking to get that mojo back. One of those hits, though, being a home run. 1-1 misses up and away.
It's tricky to step back into the gauntlet when you've been out for a little bit, as he was. That was probably the most time Newell's not played baseball since February. I mean, you think about he came right from Omaha.
Newell slices one off to the left, and this summer, Tim, has really been an opportunity for him to bounce back after what was a bit of a rough collegiate season for Newell.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting to see guys who maybe don't have the greatest collegiate seasons, but who are able to come in and then tear it up. And, you know, Newell, a perfect example.
Newell able to lay off the breaking ball low. The count now filled with 1 away in the top of the 4th. Fitzpatrick allowing just 1 run over his last 14 1/3 innings pitched. It's been nearly perfect over his last several starts, and Newell lines one into right field. It falls in front of Lanzilli for a 1-out single. So Chris Newell turning things around after a rough stretch. He's now 2 for 2 today.
All's forgiven so long as you step up when the spotlight is at its brightest, and Chris Newell's doing just that here today. 2 hits in each of his 2 at-bats so far, doing his job to put his team in a position to try to get some runs. And you have another part of the lineup coming up here in Preisner, Beck, and Codier, who have been hitting well recently. So, again, for Harwich, you have to hope with a guy in Newell, with the speed he has around the base paths, it's not going to take that much. Did have a stolen base as well as last time on first, so it's not going to take much to bring him around.
Patrick fires home on Preisner, who swings and misses at a low breaking ball in the dirt. Preisner, the 4th strikeout victim for Fitzpatrick. He had 2nd and 3rd with nobody out, and he was the first of 3 straight Mariners to strike out swinging to end that scoring threat in the 2nd inning.
I was about to mention, of course, we talk about how well these next 3 batters have been hitting for Harwich, but when you have a guy like Fitzpatrick on the mound, sometimes it just does not matter who's hot and who's not. Everybody's off their game when Fitzpatrick's dealing like this.
0-1, and Preisner fouls it straight back.
And you want to be combative here, for sure. Fitzpatrick does a really good job at trying to attack the strike zone. I mean, we've only seen the 1 walk from him here today. Everything's looked juicy for these Mariners batters, but it's all evaded them so far to this point. So Preisner, it's about buckling down and finding a good pitch to hit while laying off the ones that miss.
0-2 is fouled off right off the plate. Preisner in limited at-bats this season, this regular season, really good against left-handed pitching. 5 for 13, including a double and 2 RBIs. So definitely a matchup he favors. Compared to just 157 against right-handed pitching. Talk about a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, that is a pretty stark difference compared to what batters traditionally face when they face normally righties as a pickoff attempt over to first. But for a guy like Preisner, sometimes you just see the ball differently and it plays out in your favor. And hoping to lean into that here today, facing a lefty in Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick looking for his 8th strikeout of the ball game. The 0-2. Fastball misses high.
It's a good idea on the pitch there. You know Preisner's going to be a bit defensive. He sees a fastball coming up about eye level. It's going to be a ball he has a good eye on. You see batters chase after that a lot, but it's a good take from Preisner.
Brewster infield at double play depth, looking to get out of the inning. The 1-2, Newell on the move. That ball stung out to center field. It will be hung up in time for Jones to come over and make the catch. Retreating to first is Newell, and there are 2 away.
I like the idea of the hit and run to try and move a guy like Newell around the bases. We've talked about his speed, but it's tough when you have a guy out there in Jones who has a pretty good range, especially considering his frame. Jones coming into today, of course, he's been this height for a while now, but standing at a tall 6'7", much like today's starter for the Whitecaps. So he's got plenty of range out there in center. Plenty of speed to go along with it, too. You don't always get that size and speed, but Jones, a rare combination.
Anytime you see him return, it's almost like he grew another inch. A throw over to first as Fitzpatrick checking on the runner, Newell. So here's Jordan Beck, 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Beck 2 home runs on the season, both coming against YD and both coming against right-handed pitching. He has not taken a southpaw deep this summer. Count 1-0 to Beck. Mariners looking to advance to the CCBL Championship Series for the 2nd straight Cape League season. Fastball high 2-0. Of course, no Cape League season in 2020, but they were able to make it all the way to that final series against Katuitt. Had a great opportunity to go up 1-0 at White House Field and just weren't able to push across that walk-off run and lost to the Kettleers in 15 innings before losing in a blowout on the road at Lowell Park in Game 2. 2-0 misses down and away.
I remember just being a game day intern watching that whole game go on. It went on, and of course the lights helped it to keep going on in that game. But that's why you talk about pitching is so huge. I mean, you almost play another entire baseball game within Game 1, and Harwich in Game 2 was just depleted when it came to having to put somebody on the mound.
Sure were. The count 3-1 now to Beck as he was taking all the way. Of course, Katuitt winning their 17th CCBL championship, and no surprise, they find themselves back in the playoffs once again this season. First pitch exactly 1 hour from now in Bourne as they take on the best record in the CCBL in the Bravos. 3-1 hit well out to center field by Beck. Jones coming in, makes the catch, and the side is retired. So once again, the Mariners able to get a runner on base, but can't do much with it. We enter the home half of the 4th inning, still scoreless from Stony Brook Field. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Bottom of the 4th from Brewster. Colin Casey alongside Tim Foley for Game 1 of the Eastern Division Finals in the CCBL playoffs between visiting Harwich Mariners and the Brewster Whitecaps. And Tim, we've gotten pretty much what we expected. A pitcher's duel here between two of the best left-handers in the entire CCPL.
Yeah, I mean, it's been so efficient from both sides. And as we mentioned last inning, really two different styles. Fitzpatrick striking batters out left and right. And then Dombrowski, a lot of contact, but nearly all of those balls being hit at his defense, which has stepped up big. And Dombrowski is not going to mess around in this game, nor is Fitzpatrick, because it's big to be able to win game one with both teams throwing their top guys.
Dombrowski misses with his first pitch to Tony Bullard, who swings at the 1-0 and fouls it straight back. Bullard lined out softly to Dylan Phillips over at first to end the first inning. The 1-1 from Dombrowski. In there on the inside corner, 1-2.
You know, and that's really going to be the strategy here for the Mariners this weekend. Is you throw Trey Dombrowski, game one, see how long he goes, see what he does, and then everybody behind him.
1-2, swung on and missed. Strike three, got him with the curveball, and Bullard is retired to begin the bottom of the fourth.
And there's that classic Trey Dombrowski put-away pitch, gets him with the off-speed. A really nice pitch to fool Bullard and put himself in a good spot to open up this fourth inning.
Jake Thompson digs in. The Oklahoma State Cowboy had himself a really strong regular season, hitting .278, 3 home runs, 18 runs driven in, time tied for the Whitecaps team lead. You watch a strike one from Dombrowski, finished tied with Spencer Jones. However, Jones playing in 8 less games than Thompson. Not only that, Jones currently situated at the top of the order, getting all those RBIs. One-handed follow-through by Thompson as he fouls it off to the left, 0-2.
Yeah, it's been so impressive. Both Jake Thompson and Spencer Jones, you know, you mentioned both of them, the kind of firepower they've brought to this Brewster lineup, and a team that has not been the greatest hitting team in the league. I mean, last in the Cape Cod Baseball League in batting average at .219, but third in on-base percentage at .342.
Check swing by Thompson, but he's able to hold up. Third base umpire Joseph Peters signaling he did not go. No action in the bullpen for either team, and why would there be based on how this game has gone? Breaking ball 1-2 just misses outside as Levins tried to frame it, count even 2-2.
Yeah, it's a really nice stay by Jake Thompson. That's a pitch that's fooled many a batter this season, and he holds off on it. Dombrowski going to have to give another look. We'll see what he goes to.
2-2. That one's a called strike three. This time he's able to get the breaking ball in the outside corner. Thompson goes down looking. Third strikeout of the game for Dombrowski. 2 up, 2 down to begin the bottom of the fourth.
And now we're seeing Trey Dombrowski come out and play how he's played all season long. You know, we mentioned he plays a lot to contact, but these strikeout numbers now adding up 2 so far to open up this inning and 3 across the last 2.
Big swing and a miss by Chris Lanzilli, who lined out his first time up. Hit one sharply right at Brock Wilkin over at third base. Lanzilli participated in the 2019 playoffs with the Harwich Mariners. Count even 1-1 to him. Just 1 for 21, though, in the postseason, so he's looking to redeem himself against his former team. Of course, a big power threat. He fouls one right off the instep of Levins, who is a little slow to get up. Even in the playoffs, Tim, some things never change. Tatum Levins taking a beating back there.
I was going to say, I thought it had been a while since Levins took his last ball, as he is... Looks like he's able to shake it off here. He's already in his crouched position, but really he has just been battered back there, as is the nature, as is the risk that is associated with being a catcher. You know, it is comes along with the job, and he full well understands that, and he is one of the tougher guys on this Harwich Mariners team.
A little bit of a smile there from Chris Lanzilli talking with Levins. Dombrowski shakes off Levins' sign. Starts his windup, the 1-2. Lined into left center field, falling quickly. It gets down for a hit. That's going to keep rolling. Newell finally gets to it, but by then, Chris Lanzilli is into second base with a double, and that is the first extra base hit of the ball game for either team. Brewster with a runner in scoring position with 2 down.
I mean, that was a really well-hit ball out into the gap in left center. There was a lot of space there, too. Kavanaugh and Newell each playing pretty true to their positions, leaving a lot of space in left center, and so plays to the benefit of Lanzilli as that ball got by each of them, and he's able to stride into second safely.
So now it'll be up to Chad Castillo. Try to bring home that first run of the ball game with Lanzilli at second. Castillo flew out to left field his first time up. And his first pitch swing, a broken bat flare, falling quickly into center field. Newell comes in, he can't get there. Rounding third is Lanzilli. The throw comes to first. And Chris Lanzilli scores the first run of the ball game against his former team. The Brewster Whitecaps take a 1-0 lead in game 1.
Well, the energy of the inning just changed very quickly. You had back-to-back strikeouts to open it up for Trey Dombrowski, but he gives up a double to Lanzilli and then an RBI single to Chad Castillo, who's been one of the best bats for Brewster recently. And now Harwich behind in this game on an earned run that does not come across all too often on Dombrowski.
Another broken bat single. I've seen a few of those in this game, and just some bad luck for Dombrowski. Made a good pitch, and sometimes that's just the way things go. So he finds himself behind. Haven't seen that too much this season, but he's able to deliver a strike to Curtis Byrne.
And again, we talk about that. Chad Castillo, he's been one of the best hitters for Brewster down the stretch across his past 6 games. As this one's skied foul. Across his past 6 games, he's got 8 hits and 5 RBI. So add to that another single, another RBI, and he's got his team in a good spot here in the first game of the playoffs.
On top of that, he's 5 for 12 against the Mariners this season. Driving in his 4th run batted in. 0-2 swung on and missed, and Dombrowski ends the inning with a strikeout. He strikes out the side, but not before. An RBI single from Chad Castillo puts Brewster on top 1-0 through 4 innings. We head to the 5th. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Top of the 5th inning from Stony Brook Field, and Brewster has himself a 1-0 lead. And Tim, based on how offense has gone this season for the Mariners here in Brewster, 1-0 might be enough for the Whitecaps and their outstanding pitching staff.
No, Brewster is more than capable of winning these low-scoring, low-hitting games. I mean, the last time, or one of the last times these two teams faced off back on July 26th, Brewster won 4-3. They had just 2 hits in the game. So really less is more for Brewster. It's not going to take much for them to hold on to a lead. And now here's Harwich back with a chance at the plate here. You want to do something now if you're Harwich.
Max Codier leading things off. He's showing bunt, pulls it back. It's a called strike. Codier struck out swinging to end that 2nd inning, leaving a couple in scoring position. One of those situations where the Mariners might be looking back on this game and thinking, what if? But still plenty of baseball left to be played. A check swing. Codier just able to hold up 1-1.
Yeah, that was something that we saw a lot at the start of the season, was Harwich getting guys on base, but not being able to drive them around. And they're kind of regressing to that a bit here these past few games, it's felt. I mean, one of the last times these two teams faced off, actually it was the last time the Mariners were at Stony Brook. They left 11 guys on base, including 5 through the first 4 innings.
2-1 hit up the middle. Neto with a tough play. He bobbles it. And Cody able to reach base safely. A rare miscue from Zach Neto at short. And the Mariners once again have the leadoff man on.
Yeah, you're not going to see that all too often, but if you're Harwich, you take advantage of it. You take every break you can get and try to move along.
They're going to call that a hit. Was a long run for Neto to get to that ball, but he got his glove on it and definitely had enough time to throw out Codier. Regardless, the Mariners will take it, tying run on base. Here's Press Kavanaugh. Ball misses up and away.
Yeah, I mean, that's a play I think we've seen be made multiple times across multiple games this season, as well as when you have a guy like Neto who's able to field it, but Codier credited with a hit as opposed to an error there.
1-0 to Kavanaugh. Misses up. Of course, we talked earlier about Kavanaugh finishing second in the batting title, and we got a mound visit. And Tim, this is interesting because this season, Brian Fitzpatrick has not pitched more than 4 innings. Here he is in the 5th. Leadoff man on, not necessarily his fault, but all of a sudden command drifting with the top of the order due up for Harwich and an arm getting loose for Brewster. You wonder if we might be nearing the end for Brian Fitzpatrick.
It's certainly a possibility when you consider how long, as you said, Colin, the guy like Fitzpatrick has gone all season long. And so if you're Brewster, you don't want to play your hand too much. You understand that Fitzpatrick has been pitching excellent for you so far, but you have to understand that's only going to get you so far when he only has so many reps on the season.
2-0 to Kavanaugh. That's in there for a strike. And back to my point about Kavanaugh, almost won the batting title this year, hitting .333. What's interesting is his splits. This regular season, he had .410 against right-handed pitching, just .200 against lefties. A huge difference. Here he is facing a lefty once again. But he is 1 for 2 this afternoon, and battling back is Fitzpatrick. He evens the count with a called strike, 2-2.
And he was very close to being 0 for 2. And you remember how his single was right at the third baseman and Jake Thompson, and Kavanaugh was just able to outpace the 6'7" Fitzpatrick over to first base. So his speed playing a bit of an advantage there for Kavanaugh.
Watches a fastball miss down and away, full count. We'll see if Codier might be in motion with nobody out. Mariners out hitting the Whitecaps 6-4. That's Michael Prosecki getting loose in the bullpen. Payoff pitch. Kavanaugh able to foul it back, and that's interesting, Tim, because remember, last time we saw him, left the game early due to an injury after facing just 3 batters.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what exactly he looks like once he comes out. Of course, that ultimately tells you it wasn't anything too serious if he's ready to start again just a week later.
Throw over and Codier back easily. Not only that, that was his last appearance. So 5 days removed, he hasn't had any sort of game action since then. Be interesting to see how that takes place, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Payoff pitch. Low and away, ball 4. Press Kavanaugh draws a walk. That puts runners at first and second with still nobody out. And Tatum Levin's coming to the plate.
And it's another inning for Harwich where you have success in getting the leadoff guy on. This is now the 3rd time you got the leadoff guy on. 2nd time you've been able to get the guy after him to get on base as well. But you do not want to leave anything on the board here in this inning. Of course, if you strand a stray runner, that's fine. But if you're Harwich, this has to be a situation in which you score. You again have 2 on with nobody out in the inning.
So here's Levins, 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out. Fastball misses high. Fatigue really setting in for Fitzpatrick. He's missing high a ton compared to what we saw earlier.
And you'll see that a lot when guys aren't exactly finishing their motion. They're releasing a bit earlier. Ball stays up high.
Especially when he's towering at 6'7". Hard to bring it down. He's able to drop in a breaking ball to Levens to even things up at 1. Tatum Levens, not the biggest RBI guy in this Mariners lineup all season long. Finished with 10. The 1-1, just outside.
Ooh, that was a close pitch there. Good take by Levens to put himself in a more favorable count.
Interesting to see a left-hander warming in Prosecki. As the 2-1 is chopped foul. Count now 2-2. Interesting to see Coach Shevchik continue to stick with that left-handed arm.
And I mean, Brewster's really prided themselves on lefty pitching. You think about Bryce Hubbard, who was their pitcher of the year for the Whitecaps. Harrison Rutkowski. You have Fitzpatrick here.
2-2, swung on a missed strike 3. The ball gets away, but both runners advance. So at the very least, it's a productive first out. Levens goes down swinging, but Codier up to third, Kavanaugh up to second, and once again, Mariners have 2 runners in scoring position.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how you do it. That gets the job done if you're Tatum Levens, able to help get that ball to bounce into the infield and set up Max Codier on third and Kavanaugh on second. So this is somebody who you want to have up at the dish if you're Harwich.
Jamie Shevchik goes to the mound, and he will go to the bullpen. When we come back, we'll introduce you to the new Brewster arm. The Mariners have second and third with only 1 away, trailing 1-0 in the top of the 5th of Game 1 of the Eastern Division Series. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Welcome back to Brewster, where the Harwich Mariners are threatening, down 1-0 at the top of inning number 5, and they will see a new pitcher. They chased Brian Fitzpatrick out of the game after 4 1/3 innings pitched. Gave up 6 hits. So far, no earned runs, but he is responsible for Max Cody at third and Press Kavanaugh at second. Fitzpatrick walked 2, struck out 7. And Tim, all things considered, a great outing from Fitzpatrick, but once again, the 5th inning just getting the better of him. He hasn't been able to get over that 5th inning hump.
Yeah, it was a good outing for him, but as you mentioned it, Colin has not had an outing this season that has gone very long. He was at his limit, and the Mariners in a position here to take advantage of Fitzpatrick having been left in the game and allowing a walk and a single. So we'll have to see here what exactly it is that Prosecki will offer, but how exactly it is as well that the Mariners are going to respond here. I mentioned it a bit earlier in this inning. This is not a spot where you can leave anybody on the base paths. If you're Brock Wilken, this is a no doubt about it. Somebody has to come across the score here. Of course, there is still another out to work with should he strike out, but there's the expectation here is that Harwich is going to get at least a run.
So in steps the team's RBI leader, Brock Wilken. He will face Michael Prosecki, who is making his 10th appearance this summer. Just 1 start. It came against Harwich in his last appearance, and he left the game prematurely after facing just 3 batters. Coming in with a 2-0 record, 2.34 earned run average in 15 1/3 innings pitched, and Wilkins swings the first pitch. It's popped straight up, heading in our direction, and it makes its way out of play into the bleachers just behind us.
I think that's the closest we've been to getting hit with a foul ball on the broadcast this year.
Yeah, no question about it. That was about, I want to say 10 feet behind us and to the left.
It was close. It was certainly close, but just out of my reach.
Wilkins singled in the first, walked in the third. Infield playing straight up right now for Brewster, so they'll concede the game-tying run on a ground ball as Wilkin watches one dip below the knees from Prosecki. Brock Wilkin, 26 runs driven in the regular season. 10 more, the next closest hitter on the Mariners roster, and Wilkin fooled badly on that breaking pitch. He swings and misses for strike two.
And that'll happen sometimes with Wilkin. He'll swing for the fences and give you a big wave and a miss, and it's one of the strikeout leaders in the league.
Prosecki looking for that big second out. The 1-2. Fastball right there, called strike three. Wilkin goes down looking, and there you have it. Once again, clutch pitching for the Whitecaps, two-way in the top of the fifth.
The first baseman from Kansas State, number 19.
If you're Harwich, it hurts to see your team MVP and Brock Wilkin go down, but you find comfort in the fact that now you have Dylan Phillips coming up to bat as well, who has been just another huge threat to opposing pitchers this season.
He's first pitch swinging and fouls it straight back off the umpire. Curtis Byrne, the catcher, making sure he's okay. Phillips struck out swinging in the first and popped one straight up to the pitcher's mound his last time up. Phillips, been an effective batter with runners in scoring position this season, driving in 15 runs in 16 games with Harwich, and he watches a very close pitch called a ball.
Yeah, this is a guy who, were it not for the fact that he came in midway through the season, easily would have been Harwich's 10th All-Star. I mean, just absolutely unbelievable play from Phillips.
Big swing, and he fouls it back. We talk about the power, we talk about his ability to drive in runs, but what's forgotten about is he's a really good defender as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've seen it on time and time again where he's picking a lot of balls out of the dirt that are thrown over to him at first base, and he's had some pretty good plays at the plate as well, thinking back to one at YD where he flipped one out of his glove to cut down a run at the plate.
1-2 hit up the middle. Neto shading towards the bag. The throw is in time, and Brewster somehow, some way, able to get out of the jam once again. The Mariners strand two in scoring position. We're halfway through this one, 1-0 Whitecaps. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Trey Dombrowski out for the home half of the fifth inning. The Mariners starter so far has gone 4 strong innings, allowing just 1 run on 4 hits, striking out 4, and has not issued a walk, but hasn't gotten any run support thus far He'll look to keep it a 1-run deficit as Will Simpson leading things off for Brewster, count 1-0.
Yeah, a little atypical from what we're used to in some of these Dombrowski starts. He's usually getting a few runs. In fact, he's on a 2-game winning streak with runs being scored in his favor. But so far here today, in line for the loss because of the 2 hits he gave up last inning.
2-0 to Simpson in there for a strike. Will Simpson had been 0 for 8 on the season against the Mariners, the only batter in the Whitecaps lineup to not have a hit against Harwich, but he broke that his first time up when he singled to center. And he's ahead 3-1.
Yeah, some control issues here in this at-bat for Dombrowski.
The 3-1. Foul tipped right off the mask of Levens, who pulls it to the top of his head, and seems like he's all right, working his jaw. Count now full.
I mean, that is going to sting no matter what. You take a ball to the helmet like that, people might question sometimes, oh, you're wearing a mask, like, what's the big deal? Like, it still reverberates around your head, and you were still very shaken up after taking a ball to the mask. The mask does not prevent all damage being done to a catcher's head.
Payoff pitch to Simpson. Breaking ball, called strike 3, froze him. Will Simpson goes down looking, has a number of words to share with home plate umpire Josh Patala, but he goes back to the dugout. 5th strikeout for Dombrowski, 1 away.
Yeah, he thought that thing was high. I mean, to read his lips and to ad-lib a little bit on what he was saying, that ball was a bit high in the eyes of Will Simpson there.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Dombrowski dating back to last inning. He starts Faltini off with a ball high. Faltini, first strikeout victim of the ball game. Count even 1-1. Wind up the 1-1. Breaking ball and a late swing there from Faltini. Trey Faltini, University of Texas. He's reached base safely in 3 of his last 4 games to wrap up the regular season, but here he strikes out swinging once again. So make it 3 in a row now for Dombrowski. He is really starting to get that strikeout pitch working. 6th on the afternoon. We head back to the top of the lineup. Spencer Jones coming to the dish.
And that's how you settle back in after giving up 2 hits back-to-back to give up a run, 3 straight strikeouts. And even within this inning, fell behind against Will Simpson, 3-1, but had a really nice approach in the rest of that at-bat, and then struck out Trey Faltini there on a couple of nice pitches.
Spencer Jones watches ball 1. Jones able to pick up a hit his last time up. I think he's happy that he's hitting the ball against Harwich and not the opposite, as he's been hit by 2 pitches against the Mariners this season. Count now 2-0, including one that left him out of the lineup the next day due to some bruised ribs.
Yeah, you know, that's one of the other things that Brewster excels at, is getting hit by a pitch, strangely enough.
Jones slices this one out to left center field, but Kavanaugh over. Makes the catch, and the inning is over. 1-2-3, bottom of the 5th for Trey Dombrowski. He looks to pick up some run support in the 6th. Mariners trail 1-0. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. to the 6th inning from Stony Brook Field. Alongside Tim Foley, I'm Colin Casey, bringing you Game 1 of the Eastern Division Series. Winner of this best-of-3 series will head to the CCBL Championship Series to face either the Bourne Braves or the Cotuit Kettleers. And Tim, it's hard to pick a favorite in the CCBL postseason because any team can get hot at any time. We've seen teams limp into the postseason and be a quick out. We've seen teams have a ton of momentum coming in and they ride it all the way to the championship series. But who do you think really is the favorite that stands out heading into this first series of games on this Friday afternoon?
Well, you really can take anybody because you talk about momentum, and that's such a huge factor. I mean, Harwich, despite being 1-4 against Brewster on the season, the only win they had against Brewster was that big win they had at White House Field the last time they faced off, and it's been a tight battle so far here, so there's no reason for Harwich to believe they can't come out on top. As the first pitch is in for a called strike, and then you look at the West, and while, yes, the Bourne Braves have been the Bourne Braves all summer long, that's actually a much tighter season series. Just 3-2 are the Braves over the Kettleers, and Cotuit has some of the hottest bats on the Cape this summer as Putz falls behind 0-2.
Cotuit seemingly getting hot at the right time. Very similar to what we saw in 2019. See if they're able to knock off the Bourne Braves. Just under a half hour till first pitch as Putz chases one down the right field line, but it's foul.
And just to help put it into some perspective here, Cotuit, they actually have the best batting average on the Cape this season, as well as the best slugging percentage. And so they have been swinging it very well. Second best on base percentage on the Cape as well.
0-2 is fouled off. Yeah, the big challenge for them is going to be controlling the Bourne bats because their pitching staff has really struggled this season. They were second to last in ERA, just ahead of Hyannis.
That's the thing, is they will partake in a lot of slugfests, and they're tough to beat in that regard.
0-2 just misses high to Putz.
It's a good take from Putz, saw it all the way, as he knew that thing was not going to find the strike zone.
1-2. Prosecki gets Putz swinging. He's frustrated as he goes back to the dugout. Second strikeout recorded by Michael Prosecki, the left-hander out of Louisville, and there's one away to begin the 6th.
Yeah, it's a good put-away pitch. Putz, who was trying to find something there and continue it's been a good stretch for Harwich. I mean, they've gotten 3 of the 5 leadoff guys on coming into this inning, but Putz not able to get on base.
Chris Newell looking to continue his strong start to the afternoon. He watches strike one. Couple of singles and a stolen base to his credit. 0-1 from Prosecki, a fastball way late as Newell as he swings underneath it, 0-2.
There's that pitch. We talked about it a bit earlier when we were seeing Fitzpatrick on the mound. Is that fastball up high? It just looks so good coming in, but then you just cannot catch up to it. Cannot bring your hands up high enough to catch it.
0-2, and Newell tags it out to center field. Jones takes several steps back, but he's underneath it, makes a catch, and there are quickly 2 away in the top of the 6th.
And this has to be frustrating for Harwich. This is only the second time all game in which the first 2 batters have been retired for the team. And looking across all the innings today, they've managed to get 7 on base, left 4 in scoring position, but haven't driven anyone home, and now not even getting anybody on here to open up this 6th inning.
So 2 away for Preisner, who is 0 for 2. Count 1-0 to him. Preisner, the shortstop out of Notre Dame. One of several members of the Fighting Irish on this Harwich roster, and Preisner hits this one well out to right field, sending Lanzilli back, but he's got plenty of room, makes the catch, and the Mariners are set down in order in the top of inning number 6. We go to the bottom half, still 1-0 Brewster. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, local area cat dealer.
Home half of the sixth, 1-0. The Whitecaps lead Harwich in game 1 of the CCBL semifinals. Trey Dombrowski back out for inning number 6. No surprise, he continues to cruise right along, but right now in line for the loss. And just another instance right now, Tim, where the Mariners can't hit Brewster's pitching, and Brewster doing just enough.
Yeah, I mean, they've been so good in a lot of these situations where they just stifle opposing teams. Brewster with 6 shutouts on the season. They know how to keep opposing teams off the scoreboard.
I remember it was pitching for the Mariners that got them to the CCBL Championship Series 2 years ago. Whitecaps following a similar blueprint, and it's been very successful. Count now 2-0 to Zach Neto, 0 for 2 with a pair of groundouts. Neto, as we mentioned earlier, returning after missing time due to injury. Trying to help this Whitecaps team make a playoff push. 2-1.
And if he can come online and be what he was before, then Brewster is going to be just such a well-rounded team down the stretch.
No question about it. Any offense is a huge benefit. Neto swings underneath this one and sends it in the air out to center field. Newell taking several steps back. He misplays it, and it hops over the wall for a ground rule double, although that one almost certainly going to be ruled in error. Newell was camped underneath it and then realized he misplayed it, took a couple of steps back and hit the ground and hopped over the fence. So they'll call that a double. They're going to call it a hit, although that was one that I think Newell definitely should have had.
Yeah, that's a ball we've seen him have time and time again, and the one thing I can think of that may have thrown him off is that this is likely the brightest it's ever been out for Newell in center field this season. 4 o'clock start time today, a game that's been moving relatively quickly, and that sun's still a factor out there in center field. Could not get a good read on that ball, and not something we see all too often. Interesting, it's ruled a hit there.
Yeah, a charitable double, to say the very least, as first pitch to Bullard misses inside. So that runner responsible, Dombrowski's responsible for that runner on second base. Tony Bullard 0 for 2. He swings at the 1-0, flares it down the right field line, slicing, and it will be a foul ball. And obviously, it's one of those situations where the fielder didn't actually make contact with the ball. The ball didn't hit off his glove, but I think you kind of have to just look at it in a sense that that play's made 99 times out of 100, and you gotta concede an error there. Nevertheless, the 1-1, and Bullard frustrated after he can only foul one straight back, 1-2.
And now if you're Dombrowski, I mean, how do you respond to this? That's a play that, it's on your record now, not to mention, I'm sure Dombrowski cares more it'd be a run charged against the team as opposed to himself. So a lot of pressure here with a runner in scoring position for Brewster and nobody out.
Don't know if there's anyone up and warming yet for Harwich with our obstructed view down the right field line as the 1-2 breaking ball comes down and in on Bullard. He's able to take. Mariners out hitting Brewster 6-5. However, the Whitecaps now with 2 doubles in this one. All singles for Harwich. 2-2, and it's fouled back.
It's pretty atypical because Harwich, one of the better power hitting teams on the Cape, 346 slugging percentage, that's good for 4th. And you think about the doubles as well, actually leading the league in doubles coming into today at 60, but each of their hits just singles. It's been tough to get much across when none of your hits are doing that much damage.
Neto takes his lead off second. 2 balls, 2 strikes, no outs. Big secondary, the 2-2 just low, and that'll fill things up.
Well, if you're Dombrowski, his next pitch is going in the strike zone. And you have to know that if you're the batter Bullard, but the question here is just, how is it going to go into the strike zone?
Yeah, when it's in the strike zone on these 3-2 counts, it's usually not by much. He's able to locate it. Runner going, 3-2 is fouled off to the right. Neto got a great jump. He probably would have been in there safely had the ball ended up in Levens' mitt. So even with the hit and run on, Neto, excellent base runner out there. We'll see if he is in motion once more. Bullard awaiting another 3-2 from Dombrowski. Here it is. And another foul ball from Bullard. And at the very least, he's able to drive Dombrowski's pitch count up.
Yeah, that's something that not a lot of batters have done today. If any count has ever gotten to a full count, which we've seen a few times, it's typically been settled on the next pitch. But a good battle here from Bullard. And it's taking a lot for Dombrowski to sit him down.
Another payoff. And another foul ball off to the right. Bullard really behind Dombrowski's fastball. He keeps giving him fastballs, and Bullard just unable to catch up to them. Jake Thompson waits in the on-deck circle, still nobody out. Monmouth lefty. Looks at second, another 3-2. Breaking ball, check swing, did he go? No, he didn't, it's ball 4. Very close, but just able to hold up as Bullard, and now put runners at first and second with nobody out.
Just the third walk of the season for Trey Dombrowski across over 35 innings pitched. He's been great all season long, but it's been a tough inning for him here as Coach Gruenberg comes out to have a talk with him.
We'll see if that prompts any motion in the bullpen, and it does look like a right-hander is getting loose for Harwich. But in the meantime, it's Dombrowski looking to complete his 6th inning of work. He will be tasked with facing the left-hander Thompson, then the righty Lanzilli, back to the lefty and Castillo. This is the part of the lineup that's really had success against Trey Dombrowski tonight. Of course, Lanzilli scoring the only run after doubling, and then Chad Castillo driving him in, waiting just around the corner with 2 on and nobody out.
Yeah, for Harwich, you have to hope for some kind of double play here, minimize the amount of damage that this next part of the lineup can do. Because the last thing you want is for each Thompson, Lanzilli, and Castillo to come up to the bag with the way that they've played all season long and as well as today.
So in steps Jake Thompson, grounded out in the 2nd, struck out looking in the 4th. Great opportunity. He's showing bunt, pulls it back at the last second, it misses low.
And this has been a pretty nice adjustment by these Brewster batters here in this game. They're taking a lot more pitches, they're fouling off balls. It's a good take by Thompson.
Dombrowski's 1-0. Big swing, and Thompson couldn't catch up to that one. 1-1.
And that's all you need to do if you're Dombrowski here. It's just one pitch at a time. Pick your spot. You know you have the stuff to get guys to miss. It's just about executing on that, regardless of who's on base.
Dalton Smith getting loose in the Mariners bullpen. 1-1. Thompson sends in the air out to left center field. Newell coming in, makes the catch. A bluff on the tag and a great throw in from Chris Newell to Brock Wilkin at third base. Talk about making up for your mistake. Had it not been for that great arm of Newell's, could have seen Neto advancing to third, but it'll stay first and second with 1 down.
Yeah, I mean, such a big presence in the outfield with his arm, Newell. I mean, a favorable placement on that ball, too. Newell charging in from center over towards left field. He's really on his way to third base, so not a whole lot that Neto would have been able to do had he decided to run for third.
So here is Chris Lanzilli. Doubled his last time up, and he sends this in the air out to left field. Press Kavanaugh underneath it, makes the catch. Neto bluffing once again, not able to get it deep enough. So credit to Trey Dombrowski, able to get two huge flyouts that don't result in the Whitecaps advancing the runners, so it'll stay first and second, now with two away in the inning.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big bounce back for Harwich to be able to record 2 outs quickly like that. Very quickly take the air out of these Whitecaps tires. And, of course, the job's not done yet. You do have a hot bat in Castillo, who had a hit in his last at-bat, now up at the plate.
Drove in Brewster's only run of the ball game on a broken bat base hit. First pitch misses down low. Castillo, the team's batting average leader coming into this game, at least of the players still on the roster, of course. Colin Davis hitting well over 400 in his brief stint with the Whitecaps in the regular season. Castillo lines one down the right field line. It's a fair ball. Over to play it is Beck. Neto scores. Up to third comes Bullard. And another RBI single for Chad Castillo. He doubles the Whitecaps lead. It's 2-0.
I mean, we've talked about clutch hitting in this game. That's the second time with 2 outs that Chad Castillo has come through to deliver a run across the plate. I mean, he's just been so excellent for this Whitecaps team, and he's been a big question mark for pitchers recently. And Trey Dombrowski, who's usually not too stumped by any hitter, finding himself with a lot of troubles in Chad Castillo today.
Curtis Burns swings and misses as Castillo.
That was one of the weirder steals I've ever seen from Chad Castillo just then. He sort of gave like a half jog down to second, and Tatum Levens just did not really offer with a throw.
Count even 1-1. Castillo has an RBI in each of his last 4 games against the Mariners. So talk about a Harwich killer. That's exactly what Chad Castillo has been for the Whitecaps this season. Hurting them when it matters the most in the playoffs. Dombrowski's 1-1. High fly ball. This will stay on the infield. Now sending Cody onto the grass. Ducking out of the way. Beck calls him off and is just able to make the catch that ends the inning. So a misplayed fly ball out in center field, and Brewster able to capitalize with a run. We head to the 7th. 2-0. Whitecaps lead it. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network.